Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages,
welcome.
And we have a special guest here today.
Farhan Abdul Azeez.
The good doctor is in town.
Yes, the good doctor. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. My name is Bilal Khan. I'm one of the hosts.
Ammar Shukri. I'm the other host. Okay, yeah.
I was going to say two of our instructors here. Ammar, one instructor. Farhan Abdul Azeez, second instructor. This particular video, we're going to be getting to know Farhan in terms of who he is, what he's all about, what brought him here. If you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the notification squad. Because if you haven't already, then you won't know when we got some stuff coming out. But if you are part of the notification squad, check in below in the comments section. Let us know you're tuning in. And let's get started.
So, notification squad. Dr. Farhan, do you know what that is?
I do not.
Okay.
Welcome to 2020.
Yeah, it's a YouTube thing. It's a YouTube thing. So, me and the good doctor go way back like A-Track.
A-Track.
I don't know if you... I actually don't remember
you
when
might have to explain what A-Track is.
A-Track is just... It was before the cassette tape. And the cassette tape was before the CD player. And the CD player was before the MP3. So... we go way back, basically.
And if y'all don't know what MP3 is basically what was before what you streamed through Spotify.
Exactly. So...
I was asking, like, yo, why can't I just teach? It's like, why do we got all this stuff here?
We got to do prep work, man. We got to introduce everybody. He can't just come in and start teaching tafsir Surat al-Hujurat.
I just want to give everybody like a quick overview as to what is it that Dr. Farhan right now is seeing. Hold on one second. So let me just go to a regular normal focus. And so from this perspective, we've got Ammar, we've got Farhan, and then behind them we got two cameras over there. We got a microphone, and then some bright lights over there. We got some couple more cameras in the distance, another two cameras over here. And yeah, so this is why are you intimidated?
Rolling with the punches.
You're rolling with the punches.
Let's do this.
I like how he puts that, rolling with the punches.
MashaAllah.
So let me just put that back. By the way, this is now a prop. Done.
So I remember first meeting Bilal. Han, do you remember when we met? Because I don't.
I don't think either.
That's how far back they go.
I know we kicked it off, but I don't remember how.
Yeah. I don't remember. It might have been in Michigan at some point.
Probably.
But hometown Michigander.
Michigan. Yep.
Is that what they call it?
Born and raised.
For real, Michiganders?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. From the Detroit Dearborn area.
Okay.
Part of that whole like early AlMaghrib Qabilat Ittihad crew, correct?
Yes, sir.
This is when Canada was part of the crew.
Yes.
Are they still part of the crew?
I don't know.
They're still technically together, the same Qabila, but
okay.
I heard you before I ever met you.
Really? I
heard you in an AlMaghrib Institute fundraiser.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
We did a fundraiser. I don't remember what it was for.
Gaza.
It was for Gaza. This is like
first,
2008, maybe?
Yeah, I think 7 or 8. I think 7.
2007.
First.
It was our first like online big fundraiser.
Yes.
And it was with Islamic Relief. And they were like, yes, we've got a fundraiser who's going to jump in and fundraise. And people are telling me he's an AlMaghrib student as well from Michigan, Farhan Abdul Azeez. And he goes on, and it was just like audio during that time. And he goes on and I don't know, mashallah, tabarakallah, he just went off.
Do you remember how he made you feel?
Yes.
Okay.
He like brought the seerah to life. Like, it was like, is this a student or is this like, who is this guy? I remember, mashallah. And I remember Sheikh Muhammad al-Shari coming on afterwards and he's like, Farhan Abdul Azeez, I heard him and I thought that was me speaking. I'm like, so is that praise or like a humble brag or like, how does that work? You do remember that, right?
I remember that.
Yeah, mashallah.
Oh, boy.
And then at some point after that, I met you. I don't remember when though. Alhamdulillah. So what made you, or growing up in Michigan is like a really active, that's like super active community. Was it always really active?
Michigan, yeah, it's been, the most communities has been there for a long time. From the early 1900s when Henry Ford brought all these Yemenis, hired them.
Oh, for real?
South Dearborn.
All these American cars were made by Yemenis?
Yep. On the assembly line, they were the ones working.
Made in Yemen, bro.
So the Muslim community's been there for a long time. Alhamdulillah, established community. I went to Islamic school.
Now, I'm more curious about what inspired Henry Ford to bring in a bunch of Yemenis.
I don't know the answer to
I
that.
want to know what that story is.
Oh.
That's like a Ford versus Ferrari story.
You'd have to check
prequel.
they have a museum there, the Arab Museum of America or something in Detroit.
Something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, so that would probably answer your question.
I mean,
over
I
there.
just know about Detroit is that like Best Buy will create advertising campaigns specific to the Arab community,
Yeah, for sure.
right? Like that, like that's how
Dearborn
that's how-
is known, the biggest Arab population outside of
The Middle East.
in the U.S.
Mm.
We beat Patterson, New Jersey.
Well, Clifton is if you take Patterson and Clifton, that entire diaspora, it might inch
close.
ahead. It might inch ahead. But all I know is this: you're not gonna find Yemeni pancakes in Patterson, right? I don't know what to call it. Right?
No, there's no Yemeni presence in Patterson.
No, there
Patterson is
isn't,
all
yeah.
Palestinian. It's all Shami.
We recently got a lot of Yemeni restaurants opening up.
Yeah,
That's
nice.
in Dearborn,
Yeah.
I'm
Do you know what
gonna-
they're called? I'm calling them Yemeni pancakes. There's this fried bread that they have for breakfast.
So this is sabaya. I have a piece of sabaya in my plate, as you can see, I've already started. What this is Yemeni pancakes. That's what it is, all right? What you do is, it's like a slice of pancakes. This here is honey, aka your syrup. Drizzle a little bit over the top and enjoy.
I mean, Yemeni food, to be honest, is my favorite food. Out of
Very
the
good.
Arab foods,
Very good.
like Yemeni food for me is amazing. But growing up in Michigan, eventually, I mean, your story is like you became medical school. You did medical school in Michigan itself.
Yep.
And then you took a
Why
year
medical
off.
school? Because you're Desi?
Yeah.
Did you have a choice?
No.
You didn't have a choice. Okay.
So
As
I did. No, he did have a choice. I mean,
Okay.
I met one brother once who's a medical doctor. He was also Desi.
Yeah.
And he had 3 other brothers, and they were all doctors. And so I asked him, and I said, did you not have a choice? And he said, no. He said, alhamdulillah, I did. My father told me, he said, you can be anything you want to be. You can be an optometrist, you can be a dermatologist, you can be an ER doctor, or you can be whatever you want.
As long as they got DR, MD, so
Exactly.
something preceding and
Exactly. You can be whatever you want.
following the name.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, medicine was something my mom wanted for me very much.
If they did not insist upon you to be this profession, where do you think you would have ended?
My passion was Islamic studies.
Okay.
It was, yeah. I wanted to go overseas and
From the get-go?
yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
What
wanted to go
what
overseas
struck
and
that?
study.
What does that mean?
I love how Bilal works with AlMaghrib all the time, and he's shocked. They're like, people want to learn Islam. He's like, what's going on?
There's so much.
He's like, what's up?
It's true. Like,
Yeah. Why would anybody want to study Islam? That's crazy. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, but then we had to sit down with our local imam and talk to him and try and get an idea what should we do, and he recommended I do medicine.
Was this Sheikh Ali,
It was
the legend?
the legend.
MashaAllah,
The
man.
may Allah
Canton,
preserve him.
Canton, Michigan.
Sheikh
Allahumma
Ali
ameen.
Suleiman,
Yes.
He recommended to finish medicine first. That way you're financially independent.
Was he a doctor too?
He is a PhD,
Okay.
but he is not a medical doctor.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So was his story similar where he did?
He's a
his...
PhD Islamic Studies from the University of Michigan, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
okay.
he's a
He's
heavyweight,
graduate.
man.
He's graduate Medina. But yeah,
MashaAllah.
he came back and then he did his PhD at UVM.
Okay. Now I'm just curious.
West African too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Senegalese.
I don't know
Ghana.
where he's from.
Ghana. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious as to like at what age did you like, I want to do Islamic studies.
High school is when I took more of a passion to it.
Okay.
Um,
Was it like post 9/11 kind of thing?
9/11. I was in 9th grade. I was in 10th grade.
Okay.
So
So you're class of 03?
class of 03.
All right.
Yep. I don't know if it was 9/11. But I think it was before that. My
Okay.
9th grade years. I think probably when I started getting more serious.
Okay.
Um,
What was the influence?
end
I'm
of
just
8th
curious.
grade.
This is like
My influence was my Arabic teacher.
okay.
She was.
Now I'm curious as to what pushed you towards Arabic at like in high school.
So I was at Islamic school
Oh.
my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So kindergarten
okay.
all the way through 10th grade full time. 11th and 12th grade. I went to
So you
community
were
college.
indoctrinated from the get go.
And then still took Arabic Quran and Islamic studies.
Yeah.
But she became my teacher in 8th grade.
Okay.
And then she kind of inspired a love for the language, and that's
Sure.
kind of took off from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we know the origin story.
It's amazing, man. Like you never know. Like as far as teachers, like they're just planting seeds, and they never know which
Which
seed
one's
is
gonna sprout.
actually like at what point.
Yeah.
I remember with my Sunday school teacher, probably 2 years. I didn't go to Sunday school till like I was 15, and then 2 years maybe a year of him every week just talking to like 10, 15-year-olds who did not care. They were just waiting for their honey buns. Like,
Sure.
did you guys remember the honey buns?
They
used to give us that on
we had
Sunday
bagels
school.
and cream cheese.
Oh, mashallah.
They'd bring
What do
in
you
that
get?
like Baker's
Wow.
does in the morning
Mashallah.
and just pass that out.
No, for us it was just distribution of honey buns and maybe some, I don't know, because I used to just
Those
go for the honey
hostess
buns.
things?
Yeah, the hostess
Yeah.
things. And then just one day he mentioned a topic that just like kindled my interest,
Okay.
and it started going from there. Yeah. So
They
okay,
had to drag me to the masjid. I had to
they
find a
still
way out.
drag you to the masjid.
It's
Okay.
like,
I'm kidding.
no, for real, he does. It's like, yo, because when I first came to Houston, this guy was literally down the street. He's like, you got no excuse. Next thing I know, I'm renting a spot from the masjid.
Yep. There you go.
So it's just like, it's like I can't get away.
Yep. My rule is you got to live 5 minutes or less. Otherwise, it just gets too
It gets
difficult. It gets tough.
It's tough.
But okay, so coming back, Arabic teacher inspires you. High school, very excited. You become very involved in Michigan State, the MSA there.
Yeah, went to Michigan State for undergrad and then medical school. So I got into a program, alhamdulillah, out of
Is this the one with the fighting Irish mascot?
Michigan State is
The
the Spartans.
Oh, the Spartans.
Spartans. Yeah.
So what's the
The
fighting?
Irish is in Notre Dame.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got into a combined program, like
Okay.
an undergrad medical school combined.
Nice, that's
Okay.
wonderful,
So you
mashallah.
get to save some time.
Yeah. So what their program was you could do undergrad as long as you want,
Yeah.
in whatever degree you want,
Uh-huh.
as long as you maintain certain requirements, GPA.
Did you have to take the MCATs?
No, so that's one of the benefits. You don't have to take the MCAT.
Okay.
And as long as you maintain those requirements,
Yeah.
you get your seat in the medical school.
Right.
So
You know, one thing I look back at, there are like so many different opportunities to do that in different fields. And it's just like
Like what fields?
for example, law. There was like Seton Hall law, whatever. Like if you got like a 3.0 GPA or 3.5 GPA or higher, you got into Seton Hall law.
But that's on the prerequisite of you actually knowing what you're gonna do. from high
right,
school.
right. And it's just like
A
one
lot
of
of people don't know what they're doing.
And I wish they would gear middle school and high school, at least the first couple of years, to, hey, like, let's expose you to all of these different careers and how people do and how they live.
like I was done overseas.
What?
Like I was done overseas.
Overseas,
Is that how
at
it's
least I was told recently this is the British system. I'm not sure. To our Brits, let us know if this is actually your system or not. I know it's the Arab system, which is you end up picking one of two tracks.
Okay.
It's like a science and math based track.
Right.
which
It's,
would-
a
or-
general.
you would pick like a humanities track,
Right.
right? Depending on, so someone like me, I'm definitely a humanities inclined individual, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to science and math.
Ammar's motto, art makes culture felt.
100%.
Boom, humanity straight up.
Humanities all day. Like I had no reason to be doing any math past algebra. Like everything that I've done since then was a complete waste of time. Never needed it, never used it,
You just didn't enjoy numbers at all.
not at all. I mean, they stopped being numbers. That was the problem.
They're always numbers.
No,
Went
I
to
mean,
being letters
it
as well,
went to
bro.
being
No,
letters.
different level.
The letters were made into letters. They're actually numbers. It's just a question of what number do you want to assign it.
Anyway, so keep in mind, like Bilal probably hates math as much as I do.
Oh,
but
hell
he's
no.
just,
Bro, I was doing math books as coloring books as a kid.
mashallah,
Right?
mashallah.
It was just like I ended up, we were in AP stats in high school,
Mashallah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that was my thing. Only thing was that
See, I had no business taking statistics. There was no reason for me.
what
to
I don't
take
understand is why you didn't take AP stats, because you went to business school.
I took statistics in business in university.
But as part of prep for that, no?
No, I didn't prep.
Okay.
Anyway, to get back to, so you were saying, so you got into that
Yeah, I got
program.
that program. That's why I went to Michigan State, because mainly from our community, the southeastern Michigan, you go to U of M. You know, you got to U of Michigan or Ann
Why?
Arbor
Why
or,
is
or
that?
Newborn, just because that's just the thing.
It's like
MSAs are stronger there. Like Lansing is like an hour away, so you got to live on campus versus live at home.
okay.
So
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 it's
did
like
you live
Rice
on campus?
versus you
I live on campus, yeah.
You lived on campus for how many years was it?
So I did undergrad in 3 years because I had a year come in from high school.
Nice. So you're on that Bilal track of APs and stuff like that.
A community college. So I
Nice,
went to community
mashallah.
college and you
Yeah.
got credits.
I didn't get any credits for my AP classes because my thinking was this: I'll take these AP classes, I'll do well, I'll go to college, take them again, I'll do even better.
Did that work?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
But then I spent college after the first couple of years I flunked out because I didn't know what I wanted to do anymore.
Yeah.
And then but then we got back in 1 or 2 classes a semester, 7.5 years, done.
Alhamdulillah. Perfect.
I think I took longer than most med students.
Yeah, I mean, we can call you Dr. Bilal too. That's what happens. Some people, when people take too long, just start calling them Dr.
Sure. Yeah, I couldn't handle more than 1 or 2 classes.
I hear you, man.
And here, like, I'm guessing you're the type of person that would take like 22 credits a semester.
I didn't have to in undergrad, alhamdulillah.
Okay.
I had 40 come in, so I had to finish 80 in 3 years. So
Nice,
it wasn't like,
so you got a head start.
intense, yeah.
And then?
So yeah, undergrad, 3 years. I did a degree in human biology. Took a year off, and then went back.
So the year off was when you came down to Dallas.
Nope. This is the year off before that year off.
Okay, mashallah.
Oh, so
mashallah.
2 years off. Yes, sir.
So hold on a second. You did a degree in human biology. Usually when I hear about med students, they usually do a degree in just biology.
Yeah, they just call it human biology at Michigan State. That's what it was.
Okay.
It's essentially biology.
Like I was just wondering if you like chose like I want to do human biology, not like animal biology.
I actually started off as journalism.
Or alien biology.
Really?
Inspired by post 9/11. We need Muslim journalists, and you
Sure,
can do any degree you want, as long as you get your prereqs in for your pre-med.
Okay.
But then what happened was,
you're like, I hate writing.
so I did the initial class, which is like a screener class.
Yeah.
Like
an intro?
Got through that. But then the next class I needed to take in the degree path wasn't available. I had to wait till the next year started, which would delay my undergrad graduation for another year. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be a journalist anyways. I don't want to delay another year. So I went the track that was easiest.
That's how they weed out the people who aren't serious about the field.
Yeah, they weeded me out. So I did bio, took a year off, and then started medical school in 2007.
Okay, so you just want to get straight to med school.
Yeah,
So you didn't want to be a doctor? What's that name? Dr. Gupta, who's like he's a medical.
Can you share why you took that first year off?
So that was the year when I was really debating about going overseas.
Okay.
I had got a taste, alhamdulillah, going overseas after my first year undergrad. I went to Egypt.
When you
Spent
say
the summer
you
there?
got
Spent the summer there.
Okay, what's a taste?
We spent 2.5 months.
Okay, doing what?
In Egypt, doing
touring,
Arabic.
seeing the pyramids, riding camels.
No, we did one day of vacation, but it was intense. We went and we were serious.
You covered everything.
I went with 2 of my friends.
Okay.
We did Arabic, and then towards the end of my
So you attended one of those Arabic language institutes and just studied.
Yeah, so 6 hours
all
a day,
day.
6 days a week. Yeah,
That
and then
sounds-
add tajweed to it.
Bilal is shocked that someone would travel overseas to study Islam also. That's crazy. Can you believe that? Yeah. Like not only did they study it locally in Michigan, they actually traveled to go study it somewhere else.
It's like you don't got no bathrooms, you got no food, you got no Wi-Fi.
Lived up in the city.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah, you had that cushion, huh?
So then I was really that was one of the reasons why my mom and my dad both didn't want me to take the year off. But mainly my mom, she was really nervous about it, was because she thought I wouldn't go back. Like once I'm off, like I'm not going back to medical school.
Oh, they were afraid that you'd be like, "Yo, I'm out."
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's when we had to sit down with Sheikh Ali.
It's like, I got my med school degree and I'm gone.
So you went for summer, came back.
Finished up my 2 years.
These Arabic programs, you actually come back fluent, right? Like I've had some friends of mine go to these programs.
Summer?
Yeah, literally 6 hours a day. You're completely immersed.
Yeah.
Fluent meaning they can speak.
Yeah, and it depends on your background going in.
Yeah,
so for
Egyptian,
me,
right?
once I got that teacher that kind of inspired me in 8th grade, what I would do in Islamic school, up until that point, all you learn, unfortunately, was reading and writing.
Okay.
And you don't learn vocab, you don't learn grammar, you don't nothing. Just
This is
reading
what,
and writing.
You learn to read.
In Islamic school from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade.
Okay, so
that's what
it's your basic homeschooling type of setup.
Yeah, not much. You're not getting much.
Right.
But then once she kind of inspired me to love the language, what I would do is I would go home and then I remember I would have my Arabic book, my notebook, Arabic English dictionary, and the house phone.
You're such a nerd.
Right next to me.
And the house phone.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can call her.
So I could call, so I would do as much as I can. I would just go through the book, go ahead of the class, do everything I can. I would get stuck. I'll look at the dictionary if I can figure it out to know to call any of my friends who are of Arab background to get their help. And so I would put hours in on Arabic. So then what I would do is I would just finish books and give her the notebook and give the next one. So I went ahead of the class and kind of had my own track with her, separate from the class. So when I went to Egypt, I actually placed with her son.
This is
we
at
went
what
together.
age?
This was high school, whatever.
Okay,
14,
so I
15
take it you did not get to enjoy the glory of Gran Turismo and Tekken and all these others.
So we had Super Nintendo. We never went past that.
Oh man!
Once it got stolen, somebody broke into our house, robbed our house. Once it got stolen, we never got it back.
That's Super Nintendo. That's like early '90s.
So I wonder when it got stolen. I wonder if it got stolen by one of your parents.
I mean,
like my mother does the my mother does that whole get lost thing. I had a black thobe she didn't like. It was gone. I don't know what happened to it.
So I wasn't too much into video games. I would play. My cousins had Xbox when they would come over. We would play.
Okay.
Sometimes play computer games. But for the most part, I
Alhamdulillah,
wasn't
man.
into it. Alhamdulillah.
Saves from a lot of wasted time.
Alhamdulillah.
I don't know, man. I enjoyed my time. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I mean, and then so summer Egypt, come back, do a year of medical school, and then decide I'm going
so
back.
summer Egypt, that was still an undergrad. 2 more years undergrad left.
Okay.
No,
Come back, finish my undergrad.
before you go to your undergrad, what would you say was your most treasured memory from going to Egypt? Like you spent an entire summer there, but what was one thing that you like? You know what? I love this.
It's a great question.
I'm gonna have to say the kittens.
What?
On the street?
Oh, with the stray cats?
Legend.
Stray cats. So I would be like walking home with my 2 roommates, and like I would just see kittens on the side, and I'll just get distracted and go start playing with them. And then we walk off. They knew I'd be with the cats, so they just leave me. And then I remember one time I was talking. So these Egyptian kids come up to me and they start talking to me, and of course they're full slang. And I'm studying Fusha. So he says the word. The first time I ever heard the word "dilwati,"
Okay.
which means now.
Yeah.
And it took us like half an hour for him to try to explain dilwati to me for me to understand it means now.
Wow, Ajib. He couldn't just say an or something for you? He couldn't give you
could
that,
say
huh?
No, alhamdulillah, Egypt was
Why
good.
does
I mean,
a word that's so simple and present have so many syllables?
What, Dilwati?
Yeah.
She gives you, that shows you Arab Standard Time. It says Dilwati.
It was like
That in and of itself is a 5-minute delay.
yeah, right.
it was tough because what happened was the institute I was at, they had ended up overcharging us for stuff, and they were refusing to give us the money back, and it became like an issue. And so out of
But it's
principle,
like when you say overcharging, I'm just like you're already getting a good deal because the currency.
But he said
Yeah,
principle.
but it's a
Like you
principle.
don't want to be,
It's a
you don't want to
principle, yeah.
feel like you're violated or abused because then
and for me, it
you
was
will
principle.
be abused.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so they gave us they gave myself and my 2
What
friends.
was
and
the
went-
alternative? They wouldn't give it back to you. Just ask
yeah, they said, or you leave right now.
What do you mean?
Like you will give you a partial refund, but you leave right now. You're not a student anymore in the institute.
But you went through the programming though, right?
Yeah. So it's
So
it's
what's-
like
so
it's
what
like
does it matter?
75 hours of instruction per level, and they had like 11 levels or something.
Okay.
So I had finished 2 levels, and the 3rd level we were like the last day before finishing that one.
Yeah.
When all this happened, and I don't know, for the reason they wanted to play hardball, and so
So what they thought they were going to be there for all 11 levels?
no, I mean they knew we were there temporarily just for the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, but my other 2 friends stayed. I left.
Mhm.
Again, based on principle. So I joined another institute, and then I
Okay.
finished off my last couple of weeks there.
Now,
Focus on
what,
Quran a lot more then at that
what
point.
would be their reaction if you like you go into their office, close the door, and pull out a pair of nunchucks? Would they give you a refund then?
They wouldn't.
No.
That would be trouble.
They have a saying that says, إذا كنت غريب فكن أديب. Like when you're a stranger in a different land,
Yeah.
then be respectful, be well-mannered.
Okay.
Because you're on their turf, bro.
Yeah.
You're on their turf. Bilal, you're the type that would go get into a fight in some random country. And then
Get deported the next day.
forget get deported, disappear for like 2 years. People are like, where's Bilal? Hashtag Bilal. Bilal starting fights.
Bring Bilal home.
Yeah, bring Bilal home. Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, Egypt was good though. Honestly, overall, I loved it. And man, you can get, if you go there focused. I only spent 2.5 months. It's enough for me. Alhamdulillah, still stuck with me to the point now. If I go overseas, I could talk in Arabic. I could be good. I'm not 100% fluent, but
That's
I feel
because
like
you maintained it, though. I mean, the challenge with these types of immersion programs is
what
that
stuck with me was the speaking. A lot of the grammar rules and that's I lost when I went to Baina later. I had to relearn a lot of it, but the speaking stuck with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be surprised.
And that was in 2.5 months.
Like heck, we go to school for however many years learn English grammar. How much do we actually remember the actual technical rules and stuff?
Yeah.
Like we just know this is like you
Yeah.
read and read, and like but you don't like know how to just explain it.
I still don't know English grammar.
Who does,
I
right?
really don't.
So the fact that we're learning a foreign language grammar
Yeah.
and thinking that we're gonna know it or learn or maintain it is just like I think you're shooting biting off more than you can chew.
2 years in medical school, or
Yeah.
2 years finish your undergrad, and then
Then took the year off.
for another year in Egypt.
No, that was I
Okay.
stayed in Michigan.
Okay.
I worked. I taught the Islamic school that I went to my whole life. Started working on my hifz, and
How far
then
did you get?
I'm still working on it.
Yeah,
Some
how
years
far
later.
did you get?
I don't even know, honestly. I have to count. but-
Doesn't remember.
Okay.
Yeah,
Remember.
I got a little way to go.
Is it something you're doing on your own, or you got like a teacher tracking you? or-
So right now I'm on my own.
Okay.
I was with the teacher in Dallas, and I'm inshallah going to start back with him soon.
Gotcha.
But I just needed to build up a little bit before I go, because when I hit with him, it's hard.
Okay.
So I got to have like some reserve, you know?
Right.
I'm building up that reserve, then to start with the beginning, inshallah.
Okay.
So you spent a year just teaching at the Islamic school.
Yeah.
Was your teacher still there?
She was still there. She's still there.
The
now.
Arabic teacher, mashallah.
She's still
Allah
there.
bless her.
Yeah.
Mashallah.
She's still there now.
Okay. And then after that, it was med school.
Then started medical school. 2007, started medical school.
And you knew you wanted to be an ER doctor.
I did not.
Okay.
I did not like medical medicine.
I was gonna say is like ER doctor is probably like the toughest.
Yeah,
job.
I
Like you go there if you really want to hate yourself.
I didn't really think what I wanted to be.
Okay.
To be honest, the name of the game was survival.
Okay.
That was it, because I don't like medical school. I didn't want to be there.
So this is an assumption that I have about people who go to med school, right? They go through their training, then they go into residency, right?
Yeah.
And then in residency, you kind of rotate between different things. And in that rotation, my understanding would be that, oh, you know what? This looks cool to me. I want to specialize in that.
So that's done in medical school itself. So there's 2 years of book work,
Yeah.
and then there's 2 years of rotations.
Okay.
And then in those 2 years of rotations, you get a taste of everything, or most everything, not everything,
Yeah.
but you could try. Like, let's say you want to do a specialized field, you have elective months you could do.
Sure.
And then after that, then you're applying for residency, and then your
Okay.
residency is your specialty that you're going to be in.
Gotcha. So after you've had a taste of everything, you're like, you know what? I want my residency to be in X.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
In your
Some people know from the beginning what they want to do, and then they're gunning for it from day one.
So you're telling me after all of those rotations and stuff, you still were like, I don't know what I want to do.
So I didn't know until I did ER,
Yeah.
which was towards the end of my third year of medical school.
Okay.
I think it was April, and then I did an ER rotation.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
Really?
Surprisingly, because I remember my first experience in the ER
Yeah.
was when I was on a pediatric rotation, and they sent me to go see a patient
Yeah.
in the ER. And I go there because he was going to be admitted, and then I just saw like a very overweight patient that was being code blue, meaning doing CPR and everything, and it was just a mess of a situation. Like she could barely fit on the bed, or people like trying to. It was bad. It was
And you're like,
spitting up
this
stuff,
is where I belong.
and I was like, I can never do this.
Oh,
That was my thought. I was like, I can never do this.
It's like, yo, what did I walk into? What did I get myself into?
But then when I did my rotation, almost like 9 months later,
Yeah.
I actually liked it. And so,
So what was
that's when I
different from your
decided that-
first experience to like, yo, I like it?
That lady wasn't there.
I honestly don't know. I think part of it was obviously being brand new to the hospital.
Okay.
I never spent time in a hospital before as like volunteering in a hospital. I did
Okay.
rehab stuff.
To be honest, still, when I go to hospitals, I'm just like, I don't want to stay
Yeah,
there
it
for
depends
more
on the
than I have
hospital. I
to.
go to like a.
I've never walked into a hospital and said, "Oh, this is beautiful. I'd love to."
No, the cool thing
You
is
know
like
what
if you go to like.
the hospital in Bloomfield Hills, where Unity Center is.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's a nice hospital. It's a 5-star hospital.
5-star hospital.
MashaAllah.
No, 'cause I think the cool thing for me is like all the gear that they have, like all of the MRI machines and,
Yeah.
and like those kind of tech
Yeah.
people. Is just like, and also the thing that fascinates me is like now because of data, how you can like look at analytics and like pull trends of like this is what's actually affecting people and like why they're dying and what you can do. Like that stuff is interesting. It's the smell of hospitals, the sterility, I guess, could use some improvement.
Yeah, no, I had the same feeling. I hated the scrubs, like that color of the scrubs. Like
The
the
blue?
hospital, yeah. There's like a light blue. I just hated it.
Why are they all blue? Do you have any idea?
I don't.
It was interesting because when we were at the hospital for my wife's for when she was giving birth, there's different shades, and the shade was representative of the rank
Of the
or like group that they were part
My
of.
position, yeah.
Right, like I think the lighter blue were nurses, darker blue were doctors, or like higher ranking nurses, or something like that.
Yeah, so where I work right now, it's
Yeah.
similar. Where the nurses wear a color, the techs wear a color, the X-ray techs will wear a color, stuff like that. But for the docs, we're
All wear
kind
white lab coats.
well, a lot of the upstairs docs do. For the ER,
Yeah.
I wear any color scrubs I want.
Okay.
It's fine. All of us. Some people wear pants, like regular pants and shirts. And that's fine.
is the schedule like a big factor? I know ER doctors, you're like on and off.
So that was a big part of it, flexibility.
Okay.
So what I was looking for was
I would assume it's
something
less
that
flexible.
No, these guys
be-
work like 12 days straight, and then they have the
No,
rest
no,
of the
no.
month off.
No, not ER.
Not like 12 days straight. I mean, but like you work in
I mean,
batches.
you work shifts, which is nice because you don't have to manage a practice.
Okay.
It's shift work. When you're on, you're on. When you're off, you're not on call. You're not going to be called in the middle of the night or anything.
Okay,
or
so
whatever.
you could go do whatever you want.
And you could schedule like
Okay.
if I want to take like in residency, alhamdulillah, like I was able to go to Hajj twice. Like I took I just booked this time off. I stacked my shifts. I worked like 17 shifts in the first 18 days or 20 days.
Okay.
But in general, that's
So you would
very difficult to do,
So
like-
you liked that flexibility.
flexibility is huge. Flexibility is huge for me.
Okay.
And ER is one of those things. 'Cause
Keep
then
in
I
mind
could-
something interesting.
Yeah.
is that he is one of those strange people who can go without sleep.
Okay.
Like, in what I've known of Farhan, like over the years, traveling and stuff like that, he's the type that will be up till 12, have a 5 a.m. flight, and then go straight into
that's why
like a 12-hour shift.
And I got work.
Like this is what I've known from him for at least the past 6-7 years.
I have a shift in 9 hours, by the way.
Yeah.
How long is the
shift? In a city 4 hours away from here.
Yeah. 4 hours away.
It's a 12-hour shift, right?
You're driving really,
12-hour
really
shift?
fast.
It's a 9-hour shift officially, which means you're there 10, 11 hours.
Yeah, like, and
you're like on your feet too.
I mean, yeah, you're busy.
Because the interesting thing is being able to, like, when you're talking about doing med school and being able to combine it with, doing da'wah work, being able to combine it with years, off and traveling like you do, like, there's definitely a lack of sleep that's involved.
I mean, residency, medical school and residency in general, yeah, you lack sleep. So I guess they build you up.
Whereas someone like myself, 9 o'clock hits and I'm done.
So Bar's about to knock out in like an hour.
I might fall asleep standing up right now.
He falls asleep sitting down. Right?
My grandfather.
I've done that.
My grandfather, Hafidhullah, this is a real story. My grandfather, Hafidhullah, in my village in Sudan, until now, he's still alive. He famously would fall asleep on his donkey outside of the village.
No.
Like on his way in.
And on his way in or outside, he's on his donkey. And his donkey will just come and bring him all the way home. He's asleep on his donkey coming all the way home. And, it's like automatic driving from before.
Bro.
But it's amazing. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, we need to get some of them donkeys up in here.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, they'll be Tesla. Like, I think the donkeys know how to avoid people.
Of course they do.
Like all these self-driving cars, the biggest problem is they don't know how to avoid people.
Yep.
Right? Especially if the people themselves are dumb.
No, the donkeys know their way home. You just, and he'll be coming through the village and everybody's just seeing,
That's awesome.
They're just watching him come through, knocked out on his donkey.
I'm just trying to imagine, how is he sitting? Like,
you're hunched over, so you're on the donkey, just knocked out. He's gone.
Like, I would imagine, like, I fall asleep, I just roll right off the donkey. And
no, you don't roll, man. You keep your
donkey
position.
Dragging me.
You learn to keep your position.
Skill.
Now, was there any other specialty that you might have maybe considered?
So I was considering radiology.
Okay.
Which is
even more chill, isn't it?
It's chill. It's very chill.
Yeah.
But it's polar opposite of ER. Like, you don't see a patient. Well, you can do interventional radiology, then you're doing procedures. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, you're sitting in a room and reading plain films, X-rays, CT scans, MRIs, ultrasounds, all that stuff. You
can do that from your home eventually.
That's potential. You can. Yeah.
But
then once I did ER, I liked ER and I went for it. And alhamdulillah, I saw what happened was, after my third year of medical school 4 years, after my third year, I took a year off again. And that was to go to the Begin Dream program.
Yeah.
I had attended.
This was the first batch.
This is the first batch.
Year.
So that's
I attended Divine
year.
Speech. Yes, I was in classes with their brother.
Okay.
I attended Divine Speech. I like I said, I love the Arabic language ever since my Arabic teacher in
you
1998.
Went to Egypt. What did you expect to get out of?
So a lot of the stuff that Ustad Naman would teach in terms of balagha and linguistics and stuff, meanings of words and how they subtly different in different places, it was very fascinating to me. Always been.
Okay.
Even my local teachers, I would always ask them these kind of questions.
Right.
So when I first went to Divine Speech, and I was like, this is what I've been looking for, and then I found out about Dream Program, I knew this was a time I had to take to attend it, because if I didn't, if I wait till after start, I can't do a residency.
Right.
And then if I did it after fourth year, so if I waited the first year for them to join the second batch, after my fourth year of medical school, I would have graduated medical school.
Right.
But then you have to go through the match, to apply for residency. So it complicates things. If you don't apply, then you apply another year. So this is my chance to go, or you have to wait till after residency.
Right.
And so I took the year off, came down to Dallas, and did the program, and then went back, finished my fourth year, and then.
So you did a 10-month Arabic intensive program.
Yeah.
It was 9 to 6, also same thing, all day.
Not 9 to 6. No, it was like we finished by 3ish.
Man, my impression of that program was people playing ping pong all the time.
Or Street Fighter.
What?
Or Street Fighter.
Or Street Fighter, right? Yeah, that was like I visited there a couple times.
Was Street Fighter in Arabic? Tabban lak. That would have been pretty cool.
We watched Kung Fu Panda
In Arabic?
No, not in class.
Was it Egyptian Arabic?
He told us to. I just remember what was that? The mouse, the master mouse or rat.
Oh,
whatever he was.
Master Sifu.
I'm
Which
sorry,
was like
man.
Master.
I've
he's
never
telling the
watched
Kung
Kung
Fu
Fu
guy.
Panda or anything. You can watch the other video.
We can exclude Ammar from this conversation.
He was telling the panda, "Ayyuhal ahmaq." I just remember that line.
You guys are grown-ups watching
like
cartoons.
full
Like, I
like
understand if
pure
you have like
full
a child with
bro.
you.
You gotta
Have a
understand.
child,
It's not a
but-
cartoon.
What do you mean?
It's CG animation.
Same
Right?
thing.
Cartoons and Looney Tunes. That's cartoon.
Same thing, bro.
No, it's not.
Kung Fu Panda was legendary.
That's like saying you and Kamal Mekki are the same people.
First of all, we are.
Check out the Kubi.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Show him.
we are the same, as well as Buna Muhammad. We're all the same person.
Now, I'm just wondering, in 10 months in Bayna, I've heard mixed reviews, experiences of people. Some people, like they drop out because it's too intense or whatever. Considering somebody, wanted to learn Arabic and joined up, what did you find that was like a positive takeaway for you? Well, the better question is, what did you think going in and what did you get out of it? Was it different than your expectations?
Yeah, it was the first year.
Yeah.
So there was always hiccups.
Like y'all were just your guinea pigs.
Yeah, we were the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
But usually it's like the idealistic guinea pig, right? So it's like, the first AlMaghrib class, I know people who used to always make sure that they go into the first one because they're like, after the first one, they're going to do a lot of editing and they're going to, so that's where you're going to get all of the
everything.
information.
Yeah.
I'm like, give me the 10th one.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way, by the way. I never used to try to get the first one. So yeah.
It was good. I mean, overall, it was a very positive experience. I think, I got a lot out of it.
Yeah.
One of the great things about it was the relationships that you build.
Sure.
Other students who are coming
you're
in.
with them for 10 months.
Yeah. So 60 students. There's about evenly split.
Grueling
30 guys, 30
experience.
girls. Who all came to learn Arabic.
Yeah.
And then of course their teachers as well.
Right.
So I still have relations with like Sheikh Abdul Nasser. A lot of my classmates are some of my closest friends to this day. So some of the people that I met were huge that you don't get when you go overseas.
Yeah.
And then the insight into like American dawah, dawah on here with Sheikh Abdul Nasser, with Saad Nauman, with Sam Sharif taught us tajweed at that time as well.
What do you mean by American dawah?
I mean, dawah scene in America versus like if I'm studying in Egypt and I'm not getting exposed to any of that,
Okay.
These guys were obviously teaching around the U.S.
Is it fair to call it the dawah scene though?
Whatever you
What do
refer
you
to
want to
as.
call it?
I don't know. I just call it the Muslim education scene.
Sure, let's do it.
It's literally the same thing.
No, it's not. Like
You're doing tomatoes versus tomatoes.
All right. When was the last time? How many of these folks actually
Went out and gave dawah.
Well,
That's what you're gonna say.
Yeah, like out of
For 40 days.
No, wait.
He means going out into the street. You're talking about street dawah.
I'm not even talking about street dawah. I'm talking about your whole objective of presentation, content, and influence is about educating people who don't know about Islam that haven't.
That's because you are restricting the meaning of da'wah to conversion.
Well, it's
Or to
beyond
non-Muslims.
conversion, awareness.
Yeah, but it's to non-Muslims. Whereas
Right.
education of a Muslim, right, calling them and giving them the tools to come closer to Allah is also a manifestation of da'wah. It's also
So
a part of da'wah.
so during the time of the companions, did the teaching of Rasulullah sallam to the companions, was that da'wah?
Yes.
Did they call it da'wah? Because
Yes.
because almost all the time in the seerah, the da'wah was almost specific to either battles or talking to other people who were against them, trying to get support. But rarely, at least in my experience, was it ever communicated that, oh, we're trying to get other Muslims. That's da'wah. Right? That was just
other
like,
Muslims who are already Muslims.
yeah.
Yeah.
Every aspect of it is da'wah.
Okay.
Khutbat al-Jum'ah is da'wah. That's
Yeah.
given to
That's-
Muslims. You teaching
terms.
is da'wah. It's all part of
Or
da'wah.
ta'leem, or whatever, like.
All of it.
But then I just feel like it gets restricted to that.
No, it shouldn't get restricted
No,
to either.
yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
it's the entire institution of calling people to Jannah
Okay.
and protecting them from the hellfire. That's da'wah. So whether it's a Muslim being brought closer or whether it's a non-Muslim being brought closer, it's all part of da'wah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did the Bayna program. That was the main things, and then what if I went to Egypt and studied there?
Yeah.
For that 10 months, would I've gotten more out of it? Probably, in terms of purely Arabic, because
Immersion, yeah.
there's immersion, and then it's one-on-one.
Right.
Or when I went
I thought you were part of a class.
when I went in 04, it was a private tutor, but it was 4 of us, so 4 to 1, but we're all on the same level.
Gotcha.
And versus in Bayna, we had students who came in who didn't know which letters connected and which ones didn't.
Oh, for
so
real?
basics.
I
We
thought-
had
I
students
thought-
who
I
had
thought
completed
you
the Medina
needed-
books. So we had a wide spectrum.
Okay.
And so the teacher had to
In
like build all of
Egypt,
us up.
in Egypt, the teachers would have, or I guess the students together, they would have all been from the same. They would all have been from America or from the Western world. They would have all been English speakers.
Yeah, for me it was me, one of the brothers who I went with, my best friend, and then there were 2 brothers from France who were Algerian background.
So
4 of us.
very important as well. We've gotten that. You've gone back, finished med school. How did Sweetness of Salah come about? Sweetness of Salah is a 1-day course that has. I remember we brought it to my masjid in Jersey City, Masjid Tawheed, and it was a 1-day course where kids who I used to never see coming to the masjid except being dragged, like the teenagers. And after that, I used to see after the course, immediately after the course, I used to see them coming to the salah on their own, right? And so that transformation saw in a lot of different places. So where did the idea of that seminar come about? You took it on the road to a lot of different cities, alhamdulillah, and it's always done really, really well. People have appreciated it a lot. I've heard a lot of great feedback about it.
I don't know where it started from.
Okay.
If I had to point to something that I can recall, and I don't know what it is, but I remember one time I was in, I want to say one of the Carolinas for a fundraising.
Okay.
A small masjid. There might have been like.
So you were doing a lot of fundraising. It's a talent that you have that you hate that you have, and you travel all over or at some point you were traveling all over the country, basically fundraising.
During medical school I take it back. I started fundraising during my year off.
Okay.
So in medical school and after. Yeah, that's when I started, And I was doing a lot. So I was somewhere, and then, so it was Ramadan. I gave a talk after, 4 rakahs, 8 rakahs, whatever it was. Made an appeal. I believe they asked me to lead with it or something like this. Anyways, and then they wanted just like a Q&A. I was like, okay. Very small community. I don't know if they really had an imam. It was a very small masjid.
Yeah. Right.
So anyway, somebody asked me about how do you get khushu in your salah, and then I gave like a.
It's like you warm up.
Yeah. I gave like a 5-10 minute answer.
Jacks.
But I remember after that question, I was.
Khushu' means mindfulness, by the way.
Yeah, you got presence of mind in the very action that you're doing. Close your eyes and imagine this.
Okay.
And then I remember looking.
Supposed to continue the line, bro.
I don't know what that is.
That's your poem, bro.
My poem. I was like, "What is this guy doing?" I was actually worried that you were gonna hold my hand because your hand was going in that direction.
I'm always like, yeah.
So at this point, if you can see our hands, then Bilal can replay my facial expression as his hand was approaching.
Close your mind and imagine this eternal bliss, and that was gonna.
Excellent. So.
Anyways, I started researching, and what I found, like in terms of what's in the English language, what's available, is a lot of lectures or books that when they talk about khushu' and salah, they talk about the manifestations of khushu' and salah. Okay. Like if you have khushu' and salah, you should be crying in your prayer, and you should, love prayer, and you should.
And you're like, yeah, but how do you get it?
But how do you get it?
It's like this is what it means to be healthy. But like I'm sick right now.
Yeah. How do you get there?
Yeah.
And I didn't find that. So then I just started slowly picking things here and there, and it became like, I remember I think I gave a qiyam once.
So what was the answer you gave to them then?
I don't remember, but it developed.
It inspired the journey. That's the point.
Okay.
And then
look, dude, I don't know, but I'll find out later.
Before residency started, so when I finished medical school, I had a couple months. I went hard into research for it and prepared it and I taught it a couple times. I got it recorded in one of my first times I taught it because I wasn't sure.
That recording is one of the first times you taught it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it was
the one in Dallas.
Third. Yeah. I taught it in Dearborn once, in Atlanta, in Alabama, I'm sorry. Huntsville, Alabama. Shout out to the people out there, mashallah. And then I went
Shout out to Huntsville, Alabama.
That was an awesome class. One of my favorite classes till this day.
Where is
a small community, but they rolled out. And then I went to Dallas, and it was recorded in Dallas.
Okay.
And then I wasn't sure what my schedule would be in residency if I could travel and teach it.
Well, let me ask you this. If somebody were to ask you that now, how do I get khushu' and salah?
Mindfulness.
I would just tell them, go to YouTube and search Sweetness of Salah.
No, like straight up. Like, what would you, like is that, you'd be like, look, I'm not going to answer that question right here, right now. Go to YouTube and watch my entire 10 hours of.
Kind of.
No, but I was asking that question because then you're going to give a 2-minute answer, and then boom, that in and of itself is a standalone video.
Yeah, but it could be 5 minutes.
Come on, man. You got to know how the game is
played.
played.
Get the program, bro. Let's go.
Okay. It's hard. I mean, I would I mean, there's a lot you could say, but you know the famous story of the Prophet ﷺ when he said when he was standing up at night until his feet would swell.
Sure.
And then Aisha asked him, you know, why do you do that? And then he says, "Afala akuna abdan shakura." You know, should I not be a very grateful slave? I think that kind of encompasses a lot of what somebody needs to realize for khushu and salah before they go into like a lot of the class contents about the positions of prayer and what you say and the meanings and all those things. But to be able to stand till your feet would swell, you're standing for hours. Right. To be able to stand and read Baqarah, Nisa, and Ali Imran in one rak'ah, you're standing for hours.
Right.
To do that and still be focused and concentrated, there has to be a level of love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and a level of overwhelming sense of gratefulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think that would guide it. And so when he says, "Akun abdan shakura," should I be a grateful slave? The feeling of gratitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is huge to push someone to worship. It's very different if somebody's waking up for Fajr because their mom is about to beat them up if they don't, versus they do it because they love to pray.
Right.
You know?
And even in this scenario, the Prophet ﷺ, he's demonstrating that he's not praying one of the required prayers.
Yeah.
He's
This
praying
is above and beyond.
Above and beyond.
And Aisha, she's asking him, she's saying, Allah has forgiven any past, future mistakes.
Yeah.
There's nothing to worry about.
Right.
And you're still doing this.
So you got it made.
Yeah. You know?
You got this in the bag. But he's like, should I not be? I think part of it, what you just articulated, is like, I would say it's a combination of things to get to that level. Right? Like, I think that's like, like 10th degree kind of thing. But like, part of it is one, on a most basic level, as I understand it, is one, what is it that you're grateful for? Right?
Recognition.
Right? Like recognizing that, counting your blessings if you can, at least, you know, whatever you can.
Yeah.
And then from there, now to be able to stand. Right? Like now using that blessing, that one blessing to be able to do that worship, and then engaging in the gift, assuming you have the gift of having not only not just memorized, but like really taken to heart these verses and taken the time and the effort to apply or learn the language. And then from there, as you're engaged in the verses in its language, now you're kind of like pondering and engaging and interacting with it in this kind of spiritual and emotional experience. Like now it's like, I would think it's similar to watching a really good movie, right? Like you can sit for hours, binge watch Netflix stuff because the characters and the stories resonating with you and, you know, the things that you've experienced. And the presentation of it is nice and polished. And if you understand the language, you kind of get a glimpse of that within the Quran itself. And so is it so hard to believe where you have a beautiful presentation that resonates with you and you're connected to, and it is true that, you know, you could binge recite and binge engage with that?
It's not hard to believe at all.
Yeah. I mean, we do it already with the stuff that's
called being engaged.
Yeah.
When you're engaged in something. Like you give the example of playing basketball, you know, getting your ankle twisted, still wanting to play more. Yeah. That happens. I'm sure you've experienced that in rolling, still wanting to roll because you're so present, you're so adrenaline takes over, you're so.
In fact, it takes a lot to be like, you know what? I just heard a pop. I should stop.
Yeah, so you actually have to convince yourself to stop. See? So when a person is present and engaged and stuff like that, you lose track of time. That's what it's called, right? Losing track of time.
Yeah, you get in the zone. Now, that's a question of like the sweetness of Salah, because you've done it in a lot of different cities. What was your favorite city?
What was my favorite city?
Yeah.
Huntington, Alabama.
Huntsville, Alabama was up
Huntsville,
there.
Alabama.
Well, honestly, I think who surpassed them, and I hope I'm not forgetting somebody.
Yeah.
Minnesota rolled out.
Allah.
Okay.
Minnesota rolled out.
Was it the sheer numbers that really kind of
the numbers, the energy?
Minnesota gives you energy, man.
Minnesota,
it was.
It's
not just about the numbers. They come and they're engaged and present and loud, and they laugh at all your jokes.
Minnesota was good. I even learned a little Somali for them. I forgot it now, but I'll have to learn again.
Don't worry, you'll relearn it before you get back.
I'll go there, inshallah. Baltimore was great. Connecticut.
Okay.
Connecticut, the crew in Connecticut. I did my students Hajj back in Connecticut because of the crew there. Yeah, because the students Hajj class.
Yeah.
Salah, people come out for Hajj. if you're not going to Hajj, people generally don't care.
Wait, so you had another program called Sweetness of Hajj?
I have a Sweetness of Hajj class.
That's also a great program. I know a lot of Hajjaj benefit from that program as well.
What is
It's
that
recorded
a kind of
online as well.
Is that a program that you would attend and participate in pre-Hajj or post-Hajj?
Definitely pre-Hajj.
Okay.
And I would say
So
go
it's a
through
Hajj
it even if you're
prep
not going to
program.
Hajj. Yeah.
Okay.
But I try to like also focus on lessons that can apply to people who don't go to Hajj. Because if you look at the Hajj is a pillar of Islam, yet the majority of the Ummah will die having not performed a pillar of Islam. Foundation.
Right.
So why? Allah says, there's benefits for them,
Well, I think part of the idea
from
is that
Hajj.
you do it when you're about to die, but then you don't know.
You don't know when this is going to happen.
Yeah.
No, but even just financial ability. I mean, the overwhelming Muslim majority of the Muslim Ummah
People
can't.
complain about Hajj being really,
Safety.
really expensive. And my response is always, it's always been expensive.
Yeah.
Like, it's never not been expensive. It's like from the time of,
Yeah.
it's always been expensive as far as journeying over there.
Provisions
There
for
was
like 3 months to
There
get
was
there.
always
You
a
can imagine.
price that you needed to pay to go to Hajj. So,
Yeah.
if you're able to go, then it's a great, great blessing from Allah.
Did you take Sheikh Muhammad's risk management?
I did.
All right.
I did take that class.
Because he has that whole
Yes.
NLP section on Hajj.
Yes, I remember that.
The thing that resonated most from risk management was when he described the lights.
So risk management, for those of you,
Is it-
Bilal just assumes everybody's followed his life
It's
to
a classic. It's a classic seminar taught by Sheikh Muhammad Sharif, the founder of the institution, that covered.
Why is my camera so dark?
Because you black, bro. Don't worry, I'll fix it next.
You're gonna have to fix it, man. It's like I can barely see myself.
But you gotta get closer because right now, again, don't worry about it. It's
Okay.
a Sony camera. The benefit of a Sony camera is that
It's got night vision.
It's got latitude, right?
Okay.
Whereas the Panasonics, they've also got latitude, but in a different way. It looks.
I'm seeing Bilal all illuminated and stuff.
It's all
I'm
the-
looking like
Lights are focused.
yeah, man. We put all the
Bro,
lights on him.
I got two sources of light right here. Of course I'm gonna illuminate. Right?
MashaAllah.
Right? I'm just like the moon, bro. Y'all,
That's actually the smoothest line I've ever heard Bilal say in my entire life. My man is slowly learning. Every decade he picks up a compliment.
Right? It's like the moon with two suns, right?
Allah.
So it's like Tatooine, bro.
MashaAllah.
I'm Tatooine right here. And
I don't know what that means.
you know what I'm saying, right?
No, I don't.
It's
Kind of on your own there, bro.
He got too excited. Tatooine.
It's that classic Star Wars image with Luke Skywalker watching one sun rise and the other sun set.
Sorry, man.
Right? And Tatooine is it's just two solar. Oh man, forget it. Yo,
Okay.
leave a comment below. Shout out to any
Star Wars, all the Star Wars people.
Where were we?
This is how it goes, bro. This is how it goes.
Bro, I got to shift.
We were talking about
Off
for
the
sure,
rails.
I got to shift. How much time now, man?
I was asking you about
Yeah,
the
less than
top
9 hours to
city.
get to my
You
shift.
said Minnesota was your
Yes, Minnesota was up there.
yeah.
Legends.
Baltimore, Connecticut, Huntsville.
MashaAllah.
Okay.
Those are the top 4 for sure. Maybe I'm missing somebody. Forgive me.
How do we sign off on this?
Well, basically, guys, thank you for tuning in. If you made it this far, y'all are awesome. Notification Squad, leave us a comment below if you haven't done so already.
Subscribe right
And,
here. The button's gonna appear
I'm not
right
gonna
here.
put the button over there. I'm gonna stop
Button's
doing
right
that.
here.
The button's already somewhere. It depends on what you're using. If you're using more platforms, probably down here somewhere. But anyway, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell icon, and leave a comment. Hit that like button to let us know that you liked the video. And we'll see you soon. Assalamu alaikum.